decides which countries to participate in international sports matches? Before we begin, please note that IOC stands for International Olympic Committee and ISF stands for International Sport Federation. First, I would like to express the opinions that IOC President Bach has expressed to the world as a representative of the International Olympic Committee, and then I would like to discuss the details. January 2023, the IOC announced that Russia and Belarus will be able to participate in the Olympics on the condition that they do not actively support war participation as individual athletes, not as countries. Following this announcement, fencing, table tennis, pentathlon, judo, and taekwondo will be allowed to participate. January 31, 2023. In response to the IOC's announcement, the three Baltic countries, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, located north and south of Finland on the Scandinavian peninsula. In the past, they were ruled by the Russian Empire and the Soviet Union and Poland. The three countries with the same history opposed the IOC's announcement and announced they would boycott if two countries participated. Eastern European countries such as the Czech Republic also announced their opposition to participation. 2023. The mayor of Paris reverses his previous thinking and expresses his opposition. February 28, 2023. The IOC recommended to the ISF that athletes from these two countries be banned from participating, perhaps fearing that the boycott of the three Baltic countries would lead to boycotts by most other countries around the world. I feel that the IOC has a strong will to hold the Paris Olympics no matter what, but opinions keep changing, and I'm not sure what their true intentions are. 2023. 39 ISFs, excluding 40 ISFs judo, followed the IOC's recommendation. Russia and Belarus not allowed to participate, judo allowed to participate. April 2023, ISF President of Track and Field Sebastian announces that track and field will not be allowed to participate. The IOC, ISF, and countries expressed different opinions such as support and opposition, boycott, etc. until April 2023. But the unit to express support or opposition was the mayor of Paris, the ISF for each country. In some cases, it can be seen that the basis for deciding whether to agree or disagree is too wide-ranging, and there is no cohesion. From here on, I will explain the details of the above process. According to London GG, on April 1, 2023, the IOC has refused to accept a recommendation stating the conditions for allowing athletes from Russia, which invades Ukraine, and its ally Belarus to return to international competitions. The IOC cannot decide the eligibility rules for each sport. It is up to the ISF, which has sole authority. The IOC will explain the details of the recommendations in a question and answer format. In response to the opinion that responsibility is being placed on the ISF, considering the structure and management of international competitions, there is no other choice. For international competitions other than the Olympics, the ISF has sole autonomy and is responsible for the rules and regulations of the competition. We are determining eligibility for participation. The IOC's recommendations do not allow athletes who actively support war to participate in the Games, but the criteria for doing so does not include athletes with neutral individual status, i.e. those who belong to the military or national security agencies, or who are on social media. Athletes who do not make any statements or display the Z symbol indicating support for the Russian military may participate. It recommended that the ISF set up an independent committee to ensure the interpretation of the standards. From London GG. As of March 2024, there are 12 people in Russia and 7 people in Belarus, but the number is likely to increase, I guess. What do our readers think about this matter? Before drawing any conclusions here, I would like to introduce an article in the Nikan Gende dated May 10th. On May 8, 2023, World Athletics President Sebastian Coe confirmed that athletes from Russia and ally Belarus will not be allowed to return to track and field at the 2024 Paris Olympics, French media MC Sport reported. At the end of March, the IOC recommended that each ISF allow athletes from Russia and Belarus to participate in international competitions on a neutral basis. Already Olympic sports such as fencing, table tennis, pentathlon, judo, taekwondo, and golf have allowed athletes from both countries to return. but World Athletics is the first to expressly oppose the IOC recommendation. Chairman Ko said, "When we suspended Russia in 2015, it was because of serious attacks on its doping policy, and we are maintaining the suspension we put in place 2022 because of the war in Ukraine 2024. The same goes for future championships, including the Paris Olympics. Furthermore, he directly argued with the IOC saying, "The Olympics are an IOC event, but the ISF is there to determine the suitability of those who participate." President Ko also stated the following on March 10th, the day of the World Athletics Council meeting. Ukrainian athletes have been excluded from competitions for clear reasons and are unable to compete. They are forced to practice in incomparable conditions. The two aggressor countries, Russia and Belarus, can give you anything. All members of the council agreed that this should not happen. May 9th is the anniversary of Russia's victory over Germany in World War II. As if to match this trend, China intensified its airstrikes against Ukraine this month, carrying out a large-scale attack in the early hours of the 8th. The Ukrainian athlete's life is in danger. Despite this, athletes from Russia and Belarus are participating in the 2023 World Judo Championships, currently being held in Doha. On a neutral basis, Ukrainian athletes are boycotting the tournament in protest. No matter how you look at it, such an absurd tournament is strange. I would like to state my conclusion first. 1. Eligibility for participation in the Olympics and other international competitions should be discussed using the same rules. That way, the rules for the Olympics and World Championships would be the same, making the process regarding eligibility for participation simpler. 2. Eligibility for participation should be decided by each event's ISF and should be decided by a majority vote of each country's representatives, like in track and field, rather than by the representatives. 3. ISF needs to decide both 1 and 2 and needs to decide team country name and individual member's name by June 30th. This is my opinion. 4. In order to ensure a smooth Olympic Games in the near future, the World Championships should be held once every 4 years. Of course, World Championships will be held every year. The event, which will be held once every 4 years, is called Olympic Games. The Olympics, like World Championships held in different locations for different events, are held in the fall and last only 1 week, eliminating the hassle of finding a venue and making the costs extremely low. Paralympics should be either held 1 week after Olympic, 1 week before Olympic, or 1 year after or before. IOC members will have to look for new jobs, although their incomes will be reduced. Now, World Athletics President Sebastian has stated that he will not allow Russia and Belarus to participate in track and field at the Paris Olympics, citing both the 2015 doping scandal and the current war between Russia and Ukraine. This statement was made in response to a recommendation from the IOC, and I don't think there is anything wrong with it. The International Olympic Committee, IOC, has criticized ISF for refusing to accept recommendations setting out the conditions for allowing athletes from Russia, which invades Ukraine, and its ally Belarus to return to international competition. It cannot be decided. It is up to the ISF, which has sole authority. The IOC will explain the details of the recommendations in a question and answer format. In response to the opinion that responsibility is being placed on the ISF, considering the structure and management of international competitions, there is no other choice. For international competitions other than the Olympics, the ISF has sole autonomy and is responsible for the rules and regulations of the competition. We are determining eligibility for participation. When you come here, you can see that there is a difference in the thinking between the IOC and the World Athletics Federation. Opinions have been expressed based on the interpretation that the IOC has the authority to decide on participation in the Olympics, and the ISF has the authority to decide on other international games. The confusion arises because interpretations differ depending on whether or not this issue is related to doping and war. In my opinion, the Olympics and other international competitions should be decided on the same playing field, so unless that discussion is done first, we will remain on the same page. Therefore, eligibility for participation in the Olympics and other international competitions should be discussed using the same rules. That way, the rules for the Olympics and World Championships would be the same, making the process regarding eligibility for participation simpler. It would be complicated if it were allowed at the Olympics, but not at the World Championships. And the fact that the standards are different is itself a problem. From here, I would like to first look back on war and participation in fair and clean sporting events. War is an act of murder between nations. According to research, 24 countries and groups are currently at war. And if you add in civil wars, internal conflicts fought using armed force, the number increases even more. And when you add in the war between the Palestinian Authority and Israel, which has been going on for over 100 years, there is no limit to which countries are eligible to participate in international sports competitions. Now let's limit our consideration to Russia, Belarus, and Ukraine. It has been reported that Olympic athletes are also fighting as soldiers, so the criteria for actively supporting the war include membership in the military or national security agencies, statements made on social media, and support for the Russian military. It should be interpreted not only by the display of the Z mark, but also by the fact that even those who oppose the war are not eligible to participate. The IOC will also have to investigate individual athletes involved in the war to determine whether they are active supporters of the war. To put it simply, I will commit murder, but since I am an athlete and would like to participate in the Olympics and World Championships, I am asking for permission. They say there are no rules without exceptions, but when it comes to war, there are no exceptions. Therefore, athletes from Russia and Belarus will not be eligible to participate. This is based on the idea that international order comes first, and that sports are an extension of hobbies and enrich lives. And I think this is just. At the 1980 Moscow Olympics, the United States and China, then known as the Soviet Union, opposed the contradictory act of hosting the Olympics while invading Afghanistan from 1978 to 1989. Countries such as Japan, Italy, West Germany, and Ivory Coast refused to participate. There were many athletes in Japan who tearfully appealed for their participation, claiming that they had been robbed of their chance to attend the Olympics. But in the end, Japan did not participate. This precedent is based on Russia's stance of not participating in the Olympics, which is unimaginable in the normal sense of hosting the Olympics, which is a festival of peace, while invading other countries. He did not waver from his stance that war should be denied to the last. Regarding the current war between Russia and Ukraine, it is a complete contradiction that the invaded Ukraine has taken the position of not participating if Russia participates. I can find some contradictions here. 1. The IOC determines the countries eligible for participation in the Olympics, while the ISF determines the countries eligible for participation in other international competitions. 2. For example, when it comes to the IOC, I would imagine that it is made up of a considerable number of people, but even if you include the members from each country, it is only slightly more than the number of countries in the world, and the IOC headquarters makes most of the decisions, because they don't want to. There is a strong tendency to make statements that give that major country an advantage. 3. When deciding which countries will qualify for the Paris Olympics, they use their power to make recommendations for even aggressor countries to participate neutrally in the ISF. The specific path that the ISF will take should be determined by a majority vote of members representing each country's sports organization, just like in track and field. The same will be true for the Olympics. The problem, however, is that currently only track and field has decided against Russia and Belarus participation in the Olympics. But each country's athletics organization makes the ISF conclusion after thorough discussion. One possible point to note is that the circumstances surrounding whether or not the incident occurred are not clear. For example, it seems that they were out of consideration and took the position of allowing a representative from the ISF, who is close to Russia's president, to participate, even though they would have otherwise objected. Of the 40 ISFs, judo is the only one that opposed the IOC. According to media reports, representatives of the ISFs have expressed their support for participating in judo, and like track and field representatives from each country, it seems that opinions have not been gathered and decided that Russia and Belarus cannot participate. This should take the same form, clearly displaying the intentions of each country and publicly announcing it on time. Just like in track and field events, time is a time limit, and a clear time limit should be set, such as deciding how many days in advance of the 2024 Olympics date. I really want Russia and Belarus to end the war as soon as possible and participate in the Olympic Games and World Championships, both which are fun sports. According to an article February 3, 2023, by Sayurima Europiu, an international relations researcher, journalist, author, editor, the ISF has the decision-making power, and the IOC and others do not have the decision-making power. That's what it means. Those who are interested should check it out.